I love it when I buy a new game, turn it on, and then I'm immediately bored out of my shit because whoever designed it just had to tell me their revolutionary story. It'll usually be some cutscene I can't skip, railroading me down a straight line while shit happens around me, or just having awful pacing in general. Now, I haven't played every game out there, but I've certainly played enough to make some kind of list of titles that are a pain in the ass to go back to. Some of these aren't even bad games in their own right, they just have no idea how to properly keep a player engaged in the opening scene. For one reason or another, these are now, all things considered, the introduction to Skyrim isn't the worst thing in the world. Hell, it's not even that bad. It's akin to watching some 5-minute cutscene while having control to look around. After that, you make your character, then you're stuck for 2 more minutes of watching bullshit, but then after that, the game fucks off and refrains from pulling this shit again. You pay your dues up front, and then you have hours and hours of game ahead of you. What gets it at the bottom of this list is just because it's attached to Skyrim. Let me clarify. If this was just some kind of linear game with a focused story, no side quest or RPG elements, none of that shit, it's just a game where you play from start to finish, maybe for like 3 hours, then this intro wouldn't even be on this list. You pop Skyrim in, play it, then be done with it. It's just because it's attached to something so damn replayable that it's a pain in the ass. You ever want to start an entirely new character with a completely different build, you've got no way to skip this. Every time, you're gonna have to sit through roughly 8 minutes of unskippable wagon ride, and that's a pain in the ass when there's so many ways to experience this game. What if I just wanted to be a normal-sized lizard using weapons too big for him, experiencing Skyrim from the common animal's point of view? 8 minutes! What if I just wanted to be Black Rayman, the biggest thug on the block who uses crazy anime weapons because that's just probably what Black Rayman would do. No limbs, no problems. 8 minutes. I'm really glad I got the PC version because the community actually just got rid of that shit. I can hit new and be in character creation within seconds. Even without that mod, I could have just played through the opening scene once, saved my place, and just build a new guy with a simple race command. I feel really sorry for the people who love this on a console, but are forced to sit through this every single time you want to try a different build. It's just 8 minutes of bullshit. But that's nothing compared to this one was really weird. This is Nintendo. This is usually the company that says, hey, what do you want to play? I want to play Mario. All right, put that shit in. Press on. Boom. 1-1. What do you want to play? Metroid? Boom. Playing Metroid. Donkey Kong? Boom. Playing Donkey Kong. I mean, 3D Zelda usually has some intro text or cutscene, but after that, they usually just fuck off and let you play. This was the first one that tried to say, hey look, I can have fancy cinematic pacing, just live a normal farm life. Here, herd the goats. Here, communicate with nature. Go fishing. Show off in front of your friends, cause the story dictates we got 3 whole days before anything gets to happen. They at least have the common human decency of allowing you to skip the cutscenes if you just want to play, but even then, the pacing is just so botched. You perform menial tasks for like fucking ever before you actually get some kind of weapon. You have to herd goats, potentially sit through more cutscene, then dialogue, solve a menial puzzle, so you can solve another menial puzzle. Then find enough money to buy a weapon so you can show off in front of your friends. You know, the last time you sent me on a money hunt so I could buy something, the reward was a dungeon, not more tutorials. To its credit, you do get to stretch your legs here and there with some short combat segments in between. But the first hour of gameplay, control is just constantly being wrestled away from you, either by cutscenes or menial story-driven objectives. You're being tightly controlled in this semi-open space. Fetch your horse. Now apologize to your friend. Now you're a wolf, but don't worry. I'll be sure to stop you and let you know what's up. Here, beat up this guy. I'll tell you all about it. Now take this and go hunt some bugs, you little idiot. There's little room for player exploration or interpretation of tasks in this first long hour. Granted, once you hit that first dungeon, the game does fuck off a little and give you the normal amount of guidance, as in giving you an objective and then leaving it up to you to achieve it. The pacing here would be fine, you know, if it was a film. It really just kills your will to start and or replay this game. It's just so weird coming from Nintendo. This is by no means a bad game, but shit. The only way I could think to describe it is by saying for the first hour you're playing some asshole's life, but then after that you're playing Zelda. You've already established you can make a good story and motivation much, much quicker. So I cannot wrap my mind around why I needed the first hour of gameplay to be this shallow, menial task. But I guess it is gameplay, which is more than I can say for... Now we're getting in modern mainstream AAA territory. Now this is where things get cynical, where cinematic quality seems to be what's considered the gold standard. What's the most important? Fuck if the player gets to play the game. Just make sure the story is presentable. Now I would define BioShock Infinite as a kind of cinematic action adventure from the first person perspective. You have guns, you fight enemies, you engage in these set-piece battles, you might make a decision that won't matter here and there, and you've got some breathing segments where you just buckle down and explore with the threat of combat lurking around the corner. That's what you would see if you walked in on someone playing BioShock Infinite at any other point other than the introduction. Doing everything in my power just to get to the gameplay, it takes 20 minutes before I have a weapon in my hand. Now I get the point of this story-wise. You're trying to establish characters in a world, leaving in some foreshadowing for the replays. You paint a kind of utopia that slowly gets a little darker as you proceed until finally conflict erupts. Until that point, your character can only look around the environment, engage with some of the population, make his witty comment or two about what he's looking at.
Columbia Raffle and Fair. Honor system, eh?
Variable winds throughout the afternoon. In short, a beautiful day for the festivities, Columbia. And now, back to the music.
And you know, this pacing would be fine and all if it were a movie, but this isn't, okay? Having your character be restricted to a position of observation for this long in an action title is really missing the point. Not allowing the player to engage with the core mechanics for this long because you're placing the story first is bad design. There's much better and faster ways to do the same shit in this genre. Let's look at another action title, this time in the third person. Now, typically in Saints Row 3, you'll start a mission, get in a car, have a firefight, and maybe engage in a set piece or two. That's the meat of the gameplay. Within seconds of hitting new, the game wisely understands that everyone might not just give a shit. So it allows you to skip the story if you want, meaning it's there for people who want it and not there for people who couldn't care less. Right away, you're placed into a firefight and demonstrated certain actions you can do in-game by just having you do them. You engage in a miniature set piece followed by an over-the-top one, which is pretty indicative of the package you just bought. That's the core gameplay of Saints in a nutshell, presented to you within moments of hitting start. It leaves all the fancy cinematography to the optional cutscene while allowing the gameplay to stand separate and shine through. Now, I'm not praising this as some master introduction to games, but I am praising its understanding of allowing the player to play the fucking game they paid for from the get-go. I don't even have to go to a different franchise to make this point. Let's just look how the same game with a smaller budget is presented. There's a brief, short cutscene before hurling you into a situation of urgency. Your plane has crashed and things are on fire, but you're in control, meaning something might happen to you if you don't do anything right away. I mean, it won't, but it at least gives you that feeling. You're then given a moment to catch your breath as you submerge in a submarine while some key characters establish themselves. This is probably the longest cutscene where control is taken away from you, but control is tossed back to you while the threat of danger looms right outside your window, raising the tension since the game could very well begin with you running from this psychopath. Literal seconds later, the player will have a weapon in their hand. Then the portable radio, the lunatic ramblings of the enemies, and the environment from this point on will be doing the business of the plot as the player plays the game. They are being fed key information while exploring this environment under the threat of combat. By the time 1920s cop has a gun in his hand, you've already dealt with splicers, seen your first little sister and Big Daddy, and had your first proper firefight. They've established a world that's interesting, one that you want to explore and uncover more of, and the gameplay didn't have to suffer at all to set this up. It was a beautiful synergy of storytelling and gameplay. You hear about events and ideology through the recordings you uncover, and the environment itself presents the ultimate conclusion of all of it. I didn't have to be placed in a situation where the developers were holding my hand, making sure I looked at all the neat shit, while being sent from cutscene to purely do the business of the plot. I actually kind of like this cutscene here, just because of the timing of when control is given back to the player. Some asshole is clawing his way into your vehicle, and then it displays your health meters, meaning that, oh shit, he could just bust in right now. It's urgent, and it keeps you engaged. Listening to Fuckwit over here talking about foreshadowing while you sit and watch doesn't involve you at all. It just expects you to sit and to watch. But this is nothing compared to
Defined adventure, but instead, adventure found me.
You know, I could talk for over 5 hours on why I hate this game as a whole, but this is about game introductions, and in Tomb Raider's case, it suffers from a little technical problem I like to call spending $100 million so you can not only have the biggest cinematic dick in gaming, but also have the means to ensure that every Joe Schmo iPad gaming fuckwit can feel like they're doing something exciting when they're barely doing anything at all. No, really, guys, you're gonna be on the edge of your seat. Just hold forward, then press the X button to continue our magnum opus itis. In the layman terms, it's what you call a big fucking tease. You'll start things off with Lara quoting some asshole because now in the modern era, everything has to be big and grand. Thankfully, the game allows you to skip this shit, but don't worry, there'll be plenty of more cutscenes where that came from. You'll start by hanging upside down, so you have to move the control stick left and right to set yourself free. Your reward is another cinematic event of mashing X. But don't worry, you'll get to take a few steps forward before Lara has to observe something in the environment. At this point, since I know what's coming, I promptly mute the dialogue volume so Lara can't run her stupid mouth and solve the upcoming puzzle for me. You'll walk slowly in a straight line, watching a few things happen around you, getting that picturesque camera angle before getting to mash some more buttons. Are you having fun yet? Then you finally make it into the first puzzle room. Only that's pretty much a farce because Lara will make commentary on the solution so the general audience this game is aimed at won't have to think for 2 fucking seconds. After solving the introductory puzzle, the dramatic music kicks in. Oh no, tension is really high. You'll get to walk slowly in a straight line, and then run for like 2 seconds before getting thrown into another wacky situation. The camera and the music will do its best to hide the fact you're just holding forward on the fucking control stick. Yeah, make those jumps, Lara, because another wacky cinematic event's gonna happen. Ooh, don't let him get ya. Quick, shake the control stick. Mash X and Y. Mash the triggers. Hurry, the camera's shaking. The music is tense. Do you feel how epic and grand this is? Look at all those angles. That's pretty fucking slick, guys. By the 10-minute mark, you step out onto the island and the game flashes its title as if it's just presented you with some kind of masterpiece of game design, when sadly that opening is essentially indicative of the entire rest of the game. It involves you being weaved carefully through a constructed line so we can hear that line of dialogue from Lara, so we can get that cinematic angle, so we can hear her stunning performance. Oh yeah, let them run for a bit. But now watch this. Ooh, careful. Not too much fun there before getting back in our singular path. Again, let's look at how a reduced budget affects the exact same game. and let's show them side by side at the same time codes, and let's see what exactly we're doing here. No sound effects, no music to amplify the action. Just tell me which one looks more like the engaging experience. Now back in 2007, by the 10-minute mark, I've engaged in exploration and combat, solved a few puzzles, and completed raiding my entire first full tomb. Know what comes after this? More tombs. Know what comes after this introduction?
Here's the soon-to-be world.
I can do this.
Are you on the edge of your seat? Are you on the edge of your seat? Are you engaged? Just hit the button, the stick. Having fun? Shake the stick. Having fun? Is it exhilarating? Laura, just hit the button. Shake the stick. Is it exhilarating? Are you engaged? Just hold forward! It's the kind of game design that bends to the will of cinema. The kind of game design that makes my heart sink when people actually praise this garbage. Everything in this game is so tightly controlled so it can get that perfect angle so Lara can make that remark so more dialogue can be unloaded onto you. Follow this path. Oh, now you can play here for a bit, but not too much fun. Gotta set you back to walking slowly in a straight line, following some asshole. But isn't this situation scary? You'll have more fun if you just play the game how we want you to. Run when we say it's okay. Walk where we tell you to. Oh, did you want to run in that tomb? No, Lara hates tombs. Doesn't make sense for her character to be running now. You should walk. Here, climb this ladder slower than normal so you can look at this. Just do what we tell you. You'll get another small space later to play in, I promise. But look at all this stuff happening around you. Look at the scale. Whoa, stop the progress. Come on, look at the performance Lara has given. But that's what it's all about. It's about the story. Making sure the video game looks like a movie at all times. Doing its best to make you feel like you're doing something cool when you're barely doing anything at all. This introduction is the big red flag that Lara Croft is no longer about having fun. No, it's about some liberal arts graduate trying to humanize a character that didn't have problems to begin with and was fun to be around.
I'd finally set out to make my mark, to find adventure. But instead, adventure found me.
I'm afraid you've been misled. I only play for sport.
Shall we give it a go then?
Let's do this, Doctor.
Whenever you're ready. That female figure on the gate. Given the age of the symbols, it could be the Sun Queen.
Himiko. Are you sure you're not channeling Sam, Dr. Whitman?
There's no doubt
Just
Himiko had power.
fuck you. This is the one that made me cynical to AAA gaming. This was when I knew games with inflated budgets did not comprehend basic game design. The most bizarre thing about it was that it was coming from a franchise that pretty much defined how you fucking start your game. The year is 2005. You just bought RE4 against your better judgment. The opening cutscene spits dialogue at you from Resident Evil 2, or you just skip it. The level design points you to a house. Whoa! Zombie attack. Uh-oh, your health just left, and now you're surrounded. You run to the village further down the forest, and now every Spanish person is out to get your head. You gotta survive. This was the shit! There was no safe space for you to get your feet wet. This was sink or swim. This was heaven. This was a taste of one of the greatest games ever made. Flash forward to 2012. Find yourself in a city infested with zombies. Your help has just told you to make your way to the center through hordes and hordes of undead. What technology can accomplish has vastly improved. You get memories, flashes, of good old RE3, fighting your way through a city of zombies. And now, this game is going to do a sick callback on current gen hardware. You're gonna get to make your way through a city of zombies. But you know what's even better? How about watching Leon drag this fucking asshole at a snail's pace while they make observations? Here's a quick time event to mix things up.
We're almost through this.
Thank you for your attempts to console me.
Let's take a break.
How about no, you fucking asshole? Better walk to that car so Leon can make another observation. Now follow my slow instructions on how to heal this woman. But whoa, look out! No, it's okay. The comment hasn't started yet. But hey, you can run now. Baby steps. But wait. This is it. The moment you've been waiting for. After 10 minutes. Get in that city. Make your way to the tower. Yeah. Beating up zombies. Gonna fight my way through. Psych! Quick time, motherfucker! Hold A! Look at all that shit blowing up! Look at the crazy shit on the screen! This is excitement! Don't get too lazy. QTE. Oh my God, you did it. Shake the stick, you motherfucker. Oh my God, the plane landed. You're fine.
Back for more.
Oh my God, you tell him, Leon, huh? RE6, baby!